My ex-girlfriend, 27, and I, 28 male, have been together for 5 years, and from my point of view, everything was fine. We were in love, living together, and we were the classic all roses and flowers couple because we had almost everything in common, like hobbies, passions, and the same character. So really, in 5 years, we never had a disagreement, fight, or argument. Our friends used to say that she was my soulmate. During these years, I never noticed anything wrong with her behaviour. We were always on the same page, so believe me, I almost fainted when I found out she was cheating on me through security cameras in my house. I was shocked and speechless because I couldn't see anything wrong with our relationship. We were both extremely happy, going on romantic dates, giving gifts, and doing little acts of kindness. So really, the cheating came out of the blue. The next day, I came home from work and all her clothes and things were gone. Again, I didn't understand what was happening until I received a text from her that was explaining the whole mess. She was in an affair since we started dating because she couldn't choose between me and her ex-boyfriend, so she took both until she realized that her ex was more in love than new, and she went to stay with him. She said the 5 years of our relationship were a good experiment and then blocked me. The way she wrote it, with absolute coldness and disrespect for me and my feelings, made me mad and resentful, so I never contacted her again but told my friends and family about the whole mess. All this happened about a week ago. However, 2 days later, she and her affair partner were driving, both intoxicated, and had a fatal accident. Her family didn't know anything about the cheating. They reached out to me to inform me about the accident, but I told them I didn't care because she betrayed me, so I was feeling nothing for her. They were in disbelief because she never told them the whole situation, so I did and sent them the text she sent me a few days ago. They apologized to me and understood my bad feelings for her. My family and friends also texted me, but I told them again that I didn't care about my ex and I hoped that she was in the bad place right now with her ex. They all called me a cold and emotionless idiot, but sincerely I don't care. They can say whatever they want, but nothing will change the sense of betrayal that I feel in the 5 years that I wasted with someone who was lying to me for the whole relationship. So, am I the idiot? Betrayal of this magnitude warrants no sympathy. Your feelings are valid and you're not the idiot in this situation. But don't be surprised if you find yourself grieving. Grief is a weird emotion. You never know what you'll feel in a few months. It could be more intense anger. Who knows? Yeah, I think the anger is numbing everything right now. The grief will come through. My guess is OP hasn't even had time to grieve and process the end of the relationship, never mind her death. OP, make sure you take care of yourself. This is one of those instances where an abnormal reaction to an abnormal situation is normal. I get why you're angry. She took 5 years of your best moments and crapped on it. There's no right way to respond to an intense, life-altering series of events, especially when they're compressed into such a short time span. Whatever you feel is correct. Don't be surprised if you go through a bit of a roller coaster, but also don't be surprised if you don't. Anyone lecturing you for your response is behaving monstrously. All you need right now is support, no matter what. I suggest processing your anger. Don't let it become you, though. Talk to some professional. Don't let her take your sense of self, too. You deserved better. My husband and I, both 25, are expecting a baby together. I need some help with my family over the name. Background: I don't share the same mom as my siblings. My parents had me and my mom chose my name. It's not your typical name. It's a nature name, which she also had, and isn't one of the common types like Lily or Rose, for example. My parents bickered over my name according to Dad, and Mom chose my first name while Dad chose my middle name. My parents' marriage wasn't great, and by the time my mom died when I was 5, Dad had met my stepmom, Jane. For a while after my dad and Jane moved in together, they asked me if I would like to use my middle name, Claire, instead of my first name, Acacia. I didn't want to use my middle name and Dad was a little upset, but they let it drop. My dad and Jane were more compatible with their naming preferences, and my siblings' names were more expected: Elizabeth, James, Hannah, Michael, etc. My name got comments, and I proudly told people my mom named me. It wasn't easy for Jane to hear, and my family didn't love it. I love my family, but I was always proud of being named by my mom and never cared that I stood out. I never wanted to be more like them or blend in with them better. It was a connection to my mom that made me proud. When I was younger, I used to talk about carrying on with nature-themed and more uncommon names when I had kids. Based on that, my family questioned when we told them I was pregnant if we planned to do just that. We do, but we didn't tell them that. We told them we would discuss names and announce them after our baby was born. My family made suggestions. Jane made suggestions that she thought were darling and would blend in so beautifully with the family. I told them we didn't need the names and asked them to stop suggesting them. Talk of the baby shower and planning on that has brought this more to the focus for my family. They told me they felt we should take their thoughts on board, and my dad said I should consider not letting my baby's name stand out among theirs the way mine did. My siblings wanted me to consider Jane and how she would feel if I copied my mom's style and stayed far away from hers when she'd been raising me for years and hearing me bask in the joy of people knowing my mom named me. I reached the end of my rope and told them all that they don't get a say on my baby's name and that I don't want my child's name to blend in with theirs, that it doesn't matter the way they seem to think, and the way they make it sound is like telling me I have to choose between them and my mom, or more accurately, Jane and my mom. They told me I was callously dismissing their feelings, what this meant to them, and what message I was sending to others. They said I started it years ago by clarifying that I wanted to name my kids like Mom named me. Am I the idiot? Your dad got to name his children. Your stepmom got to name hers. They don't get another bite at the apple because they've aged out of baby making. So not the idiot. Also, them taking your love for your mother as an insult to your stepmother is insane. I know a lot of times that's how stepfamily feels, but your mom still matters. And maintaining a connection to her memory, or not, is entirely up to you and has nothing to do with anything else. I seriously want to know when baby naming became a group activity. Jesus. To be frank, I knew that your family were weirdos and automatically in the wrong in whatever situation they were in the moment you said that they tried to force a 5-year-old to use a different name, like you were a rehomed puppy. Please have way less contact with them. They are not good people. I, 29 female, am a child of divorce. My parents separated when I was 10 years old and have constantly put me in the middle of their relationship. For example, they put the choice of where to live on me at the age of 10. I chose my dad. After my mum moved out, my parents haven't seen or spoken to each other since, to the best of my knowledge. As a teen, they would constantly badmouth one another, and I constantly felt like I had to pick sides. It got to the point when I turned 14 that I didn't have anything to do with my mum. When I turned about 17 years old, I rekindled the relationship with my mum. We had a falling out when I turned 20. We rekindled again when I was 25 or 26. Since then, things between my mum and I have been fine. Dad has always been a stable, reliable parent. Although we have argued like any father and daughter, he's always been there for me. As I started getting older, Dad stopped saying negative things about my mother and encouraged me to have a relationship with her, telling me, "You only have one." Fast forward, my dad now lives a 3-hour plane trip from me. I don't get to see him very often, about once a year if that. I know I need to make more effort. My mom lives about an hour away from me and I see her about once a month. My brother, Evan, is getting married this month. The wedding is about a 30-minute drive from me. He has issues with my mum. However, he invited her to the wedding to avoid drama. My dad is also invited. This will be the first time they've seen each other in almost 20 years. They've actively avoided each other and neither came to my 21st in fear the other might be there and start drama. When I received the invite, I called my dad and invited him to stay with me. I was excited because I don't get to see him very often. I wanted him to see my new place, meet my dog, and spend time with my boyfriend. My mum just invited her to stay at my place for the wedding. She also invited 2 of her friends to stay and just planned out the weekend. Dad could stay elsewhere, but I don't get to spend much time with him, and I actually invited him to stay with me. Dad isn't a big drinker, neither am I. The rest of my family is. Dad doesn't want to stay in the provided accommodation due to the drinking and likely carrying on that goes with it. Mum cannot stay at the provided accommodation as it's with Dad's family. They all had a falling out after the divorce. I want to ask my mum to find somewhere else to stay so my dad can stay with me. Dad is pressuring me to tell Mum to stay somewhere else. I haven't told my mum yet about Dad wanting to stay or being invited to. I should have when she invited herself over, but I feel like a 10-year-old kid again, too shy and emotional to say anything. My boyfriend has offered to speak to my mum and arrange accommodation for her and her friends. but I feel like I'm almost 30. I should be able to just tell my mum to stay elsewhere. I feel guilty and upset about the thought of doing this. My brother said he would disinvite mum, which would be the end, but he's being dramatic, although trying to look out for me and my feelings. My brother offered to deal with it, but it is his wedding and he should focus on that. Am I the idiot if I tell my mum to find alternate accommodation? You invited your dad. Your mom invited herself. You tell her no. Say, sorry mom, but I don't have room for you and your friends. I've invited someone else to stay here. You'll have to find other accommodations. Stick to that. You must stick up for yourself and your dad. It would be incredibly hurtful to your dad to uninvite him just because you don't want drama. You have to grow a spine and deal with this as an adult. Not the idiot, unless you wimp out. Girl, let your support system support you. Stop resisting boyfriend's offer to help. If OP can't do it, just let him. Mum is being so rude offering OP's home to other people. She needs to hear no loudly and clearly. Honey, you are emotionally and mentally still struggling with the verbally abusive dynamic when you were a child. Let boyfriend take care of this. Go get yourself therapy, and at some point in the future, you may be able to deal with things like this. It's okay that it's not now. I, 34 female, called out my cousin's 28 female fiancé, 35 male, for being rude and ordering a dish for himself at a family-style dinner. My family seems to be divided in this situation. Background: my family is Canadian and ethnically Chinese. My uncle and his wife, Aaron and Gloria, live in China and haven't come to visit in 4 years. It's also the first time we're meeting their toddler son. They wanted to host a big Chinese banquet dinner, 16 guests, at a Michelin star restaurant. Dinner is served family style, with an 11-course set menu ordered in advance. My cousin, Monica, brought her fiancé, Todd, who wasn't initially invited, so we ended up being 17 guests. This wasn't a huge deal, just a minor oversight, so there was plenty of room and food to go round. 2 dinner sets were ordered, enough food for 20 people. We had 4 Peking ducks and everyone got a generous serving of 5 to 7 wraps each. Another Peking duck was brought to our table later. My aunt was confused, but Todd spoke up and ordered another Peking duck, $280 before tax. He had no intention of eating the rest of the dishes and just wanted to fill himself on duck. We were all taken aback, but we didn't say anything about it for the rest of the dinner. My uncle was visibly disgruntled. Todd didn't discuss this with anyone before ordering. Gloria paid for the dinner. I don't know the full amount, but I looked on the restaurant's website. After drinks, wine, tax and gratuity, closer to $9,000 was spent. Todd did not offer to pay for his Peking duck and had already exited to have a smoke. My parents and I carpooled with Monica, Monica's mother, and Todd. I spoke up about Todd being out of line and rude for doing that. I told them it was a slap in the face. They were more than generous, taking us to a Michelin star restaurant. Todd rebutted back that if they were rich enough to take us there, they could afford to have a few extra dishes added. I said that was beside the point. Monica said she would pay them back. My argument is less about the money and more about how Todd did what he did without even acknowledging it as being rude or ungracious. Todd doubled down and said that if it really bothered them, they would have asked him to pay for his portion. If Todd intended to pay for his Peking duck, why didn't he just return another day for it? If you know anything about Chinese people, when it comes down to a dinner bill, they will fight tooth and nail to try to pay for it. I asked Todd to acknowledge his mistake and apologize. Todd said he felt he did nothing wrong and didn't intend to address the issue further. They argued that because Gloria is way more culturally Chinese, she is more upset than she should be. This is an acceptable thing to do in Canada, and Gloria is being too sensitive and traditional. So, am I the idiot for calling out my cousin's fiancé? For clarification, Todd is Chinese. Aaron, my mom, and Monica's mother are siblings. Monica had already estranged herself from the family years ago. She moved to the US for post-secondary education and relocated to New York after. She's never visited in the last 10 years. She only moved back a few months ago because her parents cut her off financially. Now that she's getting married, she's trying to reconnect with all of us and already expects her parents to foot the bill for her lavish wedding. I'm actually one of her bridesmaids, and not really by choice. My mom and Monica's mother pressured me into accepting. So she was cut off finally by her parents and jumped at the chance to eat at an expensive restaurant where she knew she didn't have to pay anything. She invites her rude boyfriend, fiancé, after the main course, who is so entitled he knew they were rich and could afford it, so I did nothing wrong. Well, now you all know they're both after money or whatever they can get for free, so none of you need to be available to attend her wedding. You might be too sick to attend. Make sure to send her a Michelin star cookbook as a wedding gift. Wow, that would be a hilarious wedding gift. Using someone else's money to order something without permission is unacceptable in any country I've heard of. At this point, everyone should be on guard because Monica sounds like that bride who asked all her guests to pay thousands of dollars to be guests so she could have a lavish wedding. She's got everyone's bank accounts in her crosshairs. She and her boyfriend are moochers. You are not the idiot. They are the idiots. I would let your cousin know Todd will not be invited to anything else family-oriented. But a dinner bill of $9,000 for 17 people is obscene. That's the price of a used car, not a random meal.